Welcome to Sports and Touring, and today we're going behind the scenes again. Before, we showed you how we get incredible tracking shots and the multiple camera angles created from a single device. We showed you how we get those epic drone-like shots using the Insta360 One X2 and the 3-meter carbon fiber extended selfie stick. Many of you have asked about the suction mount that went onto the back window. I'll be honest, I don't recommend the one that I use, and I'll show you why in a minute. But I've got a whole new rig now. Today, not only am I going to show you my new suction mount rig, I'm also going to show you how it becomes invisible. And I've got some updates on how we use the One X2 inside the car for interior vlogging, and we've tried one or two creative experiments to see how you can combine the One X2 and the Insta360 GO2, this smallest action camera in the world. And all this combines to make some epic car vlogs. Which, if you're new here, that's what we do, vlog in our car life, mine and my son's. We take you to see some dream cars, awesome driving roads, some of the most interesting builds and show cars, and we share what we get up to with our cars. And there's the occasional emotional father-son moments, like the time I surprised him with the keys to the R8 GT Spider. All the vlogs you'll see clips of today will be linked in the description, so after this video you can go and check them out. So we originally started using the Insta360 One X a couple of years ago, and obviously upgraded since then to the One X2, mainly for the ability to plug in an external audio adapter. Now, the in-car camera mount had a kind of bulky cold shoe adapter for me to mount the receiver for the wireless mics, and now I've got a much more low-profile adapter purpose-made for these kinds of receivers, whether it's the Comica or the Rode mic. The Insta360 Studio has improved a lot, meaning that I can actually get that organic transition and panning feel just from within the studio itself without having to use the iPad app anymore. And it allows me to be a lot more precise with each of the panning shots that I want to have and make fine-tuning adjustments just to fit in with the flow of the video. And since then, Insta360 have been kind enough to send us the Insta360 GO2. Now, this is the world's smallest action camera, and it's perfect for first-person point-of-view shots. Now, the GO2 has all kinds of different mounts available for it. I actually use this for an external windscreen shot for when we were driving the Morgan Plus 4. But for first-person shots, it's got this handy little clip on the cap. Now, this is far less bulkier than trying to wear a GoPro. It's really hardly noticeably there, and it comes with this handy little charging case that allows you to charge it while on the go. And I'm going to use the GO2 to show you exactly how I set up my suction mount rig on the back of the car for those incredible drone shots. Not only is my new rig more stable, it's also low profile, which makes it a lot easier to erase from the shot. You'll already know that the selfie stick is in itself already invisible. It just gets lost in the stitch line between the two 180-degree lenses. And then obviously Insta360's clever software stitches the two images together and the stick vanishes. But of course that doesn't actually erase the suction mount itself. It's not so bad if you've got quite a dark background, but obviously as soon as you put that onto a lighter background, like the bodywork of a white R8 GT Spider, suddenly it becomes a lot more visible. Now, originally I used the Delkin Fat Gecko triple mount, and even though when you get it onto the car, it does feel pretty secure, it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere, the trouble is the law of levers. As soon as you put this on, it's very easy for it to move forward and backwards. What I had to do before is to secure it with some cable ties to stop this from swaying left and right and forward and back under braking and accelerating and of course cornering. So what I came up with instead is this setup here. Let me break it down for you. So my friend James Martin of JM on Cars actually recommended these professional grade mounts. The trouble is they come as a single piece, and I wasn't quite sure how I was actually going to get the whole rig to remain stable. We still had the same problem where the selfie stick was going to sway under braking or cornering. So I got two, and I found this really handy clamp adapter. So we've got the selfie stick mounted to one of these professional grade clamps, and let me show you just how strong this thing is. That thing is not coming off. So I have the suction mount on the end of the selfie stick, and I have this clamp that fits over this section here. I'm actually using this on an old selfie stick that I had. It's actually metal rather than carbon fiber, because I didn't want to crack the carbon fiber one by putting it under so much pressure. Then we just get that on securely. Now, the key to this working is actually having the two suction pads opposing each other. So when you actually put it onto the windscreen, I get the first one on first. I can make adjustments here, but that's already set up for this particular car. Pop that down, just tighten the clamp a little bit, and there you go. Having the pads on opposite sides of the stick really helps to provide that lateral stability, and with the clamp holding it down, there's that forward stability also. So under braking or accelerating, it stays much more stable. And these things are unbelievable. And of course, I'll leave a link in the description with all the details of all these different components. The footprint of the new rig is much smaller, and this makes it a lot easier to erase, which isn't as hard as you think. Now, we all know that the selfie stick gets lost in the stitch line between the two 180-degree lenses, but what doesn't get lost in that gap is the thicker part of the selfie stick, which is further away from the lenses, and of course the suction mount itself. Now, erasing the suction mount will be slightly different depending on the kind of editing software you're using, but the technique you're interested in is masking. So I can just copy the clip, drop it underneath, drop a masking effect, adjust the size to cut out the mount. That leaves a blank space behind it. And what I tend to do for this, because I tend to have movement in the shots, I also stretch it widthwise, offset it slightly, and that just results in another part of the rear window filling the space underneath. Because I add a lot of movement into the shot afterwards in order to create that more dramatic effect and more kind of like game-like effect. There can be some work using keyframes to set points where you're going to cause the image underneath to move in order to have the right part of the shot underneath showing through. Now, there are plugins for Final Cut Pro that will do this, but I found them really slow, and in the end I actually started using Apple Motion. Apple Motion had a much better tracking capabilities in order to keep the two images aligned so that the right part of the image was always showing through. Now you have an impossible third-person chase shot, combine that with the GO2 for some POV, and you get a real-life sequence just like a video game. And of course, if you want to see how we use the techniques from this video and this video, start watching here. Now I've left links in the description for all the components I've used today. Leave a comment to let us know what you think, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time on Sports and Touring.